right. Welcome into On the Clock, NFL Draft Show, part of the Toilets Titles Podcast Network. This is episode number 30. Me and my guy, Nino Brown, we are here once again to continue breaking down the top draftable rosters across the college football landscape. We're talking players that are going to be drafted on the first 2 days of the 2024 NFL Draft. Nino, how are we doing this evening?
It's been a long time since we've been able to get on a show together and talk some football, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's become an everyday thing now, and I love it.
Yeah.
But this is the SEC. We get to break it down into 3 episodes because there's a lot of big names. And we said day 1, day 2, and there's some guys that are probably on the borderline of could be the end of day 2, might be the beginning of day 3. But if they have a good year, they could be day 2. So I'm excited to talk about it. Seems like Ole Miss is full of tight ends this year. And we'll get on that as well. But this is my guy. I get to talk about my guy at the bottom of the screen, right underneath me. And DB1. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I love it. All right. And if you're just catching on with us, you're just getting into the 2024 NFL draft cycle, this is content you could probably watch in November, December. So if you're this is the first On the Clock NFL Draft Show, go check out the playlist and find the other episodes we did breaking down all the other conferences. This is part 2 of the SEC. Next week, we're doing part 3. So tonight we're going to be talking about 3 teams. We're talking about Alabama. We're going to be talking about LSU. We're going to be talking about Ole Miss. Toiletsandtitles.com. I recommend you go check that out because we started our player profile series. Now, if you're watching this in November, we probably already got 50 to 70 player profiles written up. But at this point in August, we have 3. Trey Benson. We have Brock Bowers. And who did I write up last week? I got so much shit going on. I dropped an S word there.
You did Dorian Singer first.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, out of USC, transferred over from Arizona. So yeah, and then I got Malachi Moore going up. So we're bringing you in depth. If you like our analysis here, we also got written analysis with stats, and as the combine comes up, we add in all the scores. We add in the RAS. Man, it's been a while since we talked about RAS. That's big in February, but we're here. It's August. College football is almost here. So why don't we get this thing started? But before we get this thing started, I'm feeling a little jittery. I need some energy that's jitterless. So talk to me about it.
Listen, you want to talk jitterless energy? Let's talk Duppy. All right? Duppy's got that jitterless energy. It's clean. Tastes good. It's good going. A lot of people got these energy drinks. It tastes like medicine. Not this. This tastes like a fruit juice. It's good for you. It's clean. Keeps you cerebral. Keeps you focused while you're watching our content so you can suck in all that information and reap those benefits. So go to the Toilets Titles website, click the Duppy link, and get yourself a little jitterless energy.
Duppy's going to be good for us when we do begin, we're going down, and when we go down to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl again, when we're doing our road trips, I'm probably going to be headed out to West Virginia for a college football game this evening, maybe Penn State. Maybe I'll head up there to Boston College. I know for Army, I'm going to be going to Army Navy at Gillette Stadium. Long road trips, I'm going to be packing some W energy. And I'm the type of guy, I don't like to start with the energy. I like to, if it's a 3-hour road trip, I'm methodical. 2 hours in,
bang.
Yeah. Gives me something to look forward to. But enough about us. Enough about energy. Let's get into some Rebels football. Ole Miss. All right. You said they were loaded with tight ends. They got Caden Prescorn, I believe is how you pronounce it. All right. Cat is 6'6", 215 pounds. He played quarterback in high school. All right. He did pretty well there. Former walk-on in Memphis. So former quarterback, former walk-on, both things that impressed me. Transferred from Memphis to Ole Miss. He had a breakout season in 2022 where he had 13 games, 48 receptions, 602 yards, 12.5 yards per reception, 7 reception touchdowns. In 2022, he was 7th in the American Conference in reception TDs, not among tight ends, among all players. Okay, all players. He was a Mackey Award semifinalist. He was all AAC first team for Phil Steele, PFF. And then in 2023 now, he's on the Mackey Award preseason watch list. Preseason all SEC third team. If you look back to 2022, he had a 67 pass block grade from PFF, which was 16th among all returning tight ends. He had a 66 PFF run block grade, which was 15th amongst all returning tight ends. So he's right. He's at the top. He's not elite, but he's at the top. It seems at everything. Pretty talented here. So tell me your thoughts on Caden Prescorn.
Listen, you want a tight end that can catch the ball and is good, who can line up in line and block at 6'6", 215. And this is a guy who literally had nothing on paper until last year. He had a total of 7 receptions for like 80 yards before that, then went off for 600 yards, and averaging 12.5 yards per catch. I love it. You're a big target going to Ole Miss in a team with a QB room. And there's no definite. You get Jackson Dart, Spencer Sanders, and Walker Howard, freshman coming in there. When you need a guy to go to, right, outside of the run game and Quinton Judkins, and you want to, you get nervous, you go to your security blanket. Tight ends are those security blankets. And the guy who's 6'6", right, you said 67 grade pass blocking. He had an overall 72 too, just overall, and a 70.6 receiving grade, right? He lined up in the slot 147 times. He lined up in line 348. So he can play the traditional tight end, hand down in the dirt, be a traditional blocker. He can do, like a chip block, slide out, go catch that pass. He can line up in the slot at 6'6" and give that nickelback, that star guy, a hard time. You're going from Memphis to the SEC. He puts up numbers like that in the SEC. There's a good chance he could be the end of day 2 pick.
I like it. We saw last year tight ends were flying off the board like hotcakes. The NFL is like, tight ends are hot. They are hot in the NFL right now. And Ole Miss has another one. Michael Trigg. This is the big name down there in Ole Miss. 6'4", 245 pounds, former Under Armour All-American. He was a 4-star prospect. He was the 68th best player in the nation as per Rivals. Transferred from USC to Ole Miss, and they were really excited about him in USC after the 2021 season. But limited production, 11 games in his career, 24 receptions, 265 yards, 11 yards per reception, 4 touchdowns. He's also on the Mackey Award preseason watch list, and he's also preseason All-SEC third team. So pretty similar to Preer scoring as far as what people are projecting from him. But what are your thoughts on Michael Trigg?
Michael Trigg. I've been waiting for Michael Trigg to bring it out. And I don't know if it's poor development on the coaching staff or just been not his time. But he has all the intangibles, okay? He's got the physicality. He can do the contested catches, right? Long arms. He can play physical. He can block. I call him Elmas because if it touches his hands, it ain't dropping. My man don't drop any balls, right? If the target is around him in his catch radius, he's taking it in. They're bringing another guy. I don't know if it's the booster room, maybe because they're a little nervous on him. But, I could see them running 2 tight end sets with Caden staying in line. And Trigg lines up in the slot because he does run good routes, right? He's got a little twitch to him. Good contested catch guy. It's make or break for Trigg. It is all or nothing. You only got 24 total receptions in 2 years. You were supposed to be a dude. There's a lot of guys outside of Bowers this year that are in that pack of 2 to 10 that, could climb. I think he needs to make a move. I think them bringing in Caden is lighting the fire.
Bringing in a guy like Caden, if Caden outshines Trigg,
he's done.
Then that's because that says a lot. This guy, former walk-on, he didn't have nearly the publicity Trigg did, and to come in, get it done.
Yeah, who was that tight end? Not last year, the year before. He was 6'6", dreadlocks. Forget his name. Jordan something.
Did he go to Indianapolis?
He went to Indy. Yeah, what was his name?
All I know is just the dreadlocks.
Yeah, he went to Indy, got caught. Went to no, it wasn't that. He stood there. There was another guy. It was the same as him. He went. Patriots picked him up after he got cut. He got cut from the Patriots. He three different teams he went to. He was supposed to be a freak. 6'6", 225, 235. Didn't do a darn thing when it came to the NFL.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, it's tough because athletic, big, physical. People are going to try to put you at tight end. Ever since Antonio Gates. If they seem guys who they figure could fit.
Well, he was undrafted though, right? Wasn't he undrafted?
But that don't matter.
Right,
Teams saw what he did.
Yeah.
And now they got the cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to fit you into that cookie cutter and size, athleticism, everybody's eyes open up. And if you can't get it done, you can't get it done.
Right. I'm with it. I think he needs to step up though. I think the presence in the room should.
Yeah. A walk-on. If a walk-on outshines you, you were a 4-star recruit. You were the 68th best player in the nation.
Yeah. You should be walking away with it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. LSU. Okay. Mason Smith, defensive tackle, 6'6", 315 pounds, 2021 freshman All-American, Football Writers Association, 2021 freshman All-SEC. He was a true freshman in 2021, walked right on, started, 19 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks as a true freshman. Injured his knee in the first quarter of the 2022 season, missed the entire 22 season after that. A lot of promise for this guy. And it seems like the team, like when I read LSU's website talking about Mason Smith, he's a team leader. He's a vocal leader. He's like their champion. So what's your thoughts on Mason Smith?
Dude, right? I mean, had he not get injured, it's what we were all waiting for him. Like every year, there's either a tackle or an end coming out of LSU that gets after it, right? And BJ Ojolari last year. But it just seems as one leaves, the next guy fills in the role. And the next guy comes in and does the same thing with like Georgia and Alabama. They always have an end or a defensive tackle that just is a dude. And then the next year it comes in with someone else who's just as good. Mason Smith's athleticism is just a freak, all right? Like you said, 6'6", 300 plus pounds. That's a 4'8", 40, nothing crazy, but he got a 30-inch vertical leap, right? 4'7" shuttle. So like it's not the quickest, but he can get around.
Right.
4-star recruit coming out of high school. Like this guy's he's got an elite spin move, NFL caliber right now. I know you love it, right? And you always usually mention it. I'm surprised you didn't. Bruce Feldman's freak list. He was on it again. He hit close to 20 miles per hour, right? Like, which is just stupid.
Yeah.
This guy, he is a machine when healthy coming off the edge. He's strong. You get that dip. You got a bull rush. Keeping offensive linemen on their feet. Heels. Like, there's no getting complacent with him because he's even – it's hard to say as defensive end or defensive tackle being twitchy, but he's got that kind of like that twitch. Like, Micah had a little twitch to him. Right. Mason's got the twitch to him. And if he gets any type, even the smallest, get that shoulder arm, be able to get that arm up and under, he's got the advantage, and you're not recovering.
Man, 6'6", 315 to have twitch to your game, that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
All right, we need to get Bruce Feldman on the show. By the way, that's
I'm
like,
in, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, shout out to Bruce Feldman. You know his DMs are not open, so I checked.
I tried.
So we'll tag him, man. I'd love to get Bruce Feldman on. We got to get Jim on. I know we're working to get Dane Brugler on. So there's we're gonna get Trevor Sikkema back on. So we got a list.
Flex a little bit.
Yeah, let's get Bruce Feldman on. And that's not saying we do not have any connection to him. We're gonna shoot our shot. All right, Malik Neighbors, this is your guy. 6 foot, 188 pounds. 2022 played in 14 games, 72 receptions, 1,017 yards, 14.1 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. He was number 1 in the SEC in receiving with 72 receptions. Receiving yards, he was second in the SEC with 1,017, and he was the 10th LSU receiver to hit 1,000 yards all time. Pretty damn impressive. He was 6th in the nation in missed tackles force. So he's volume, yards, missed tackles force, production. And then in the biggest game of the year for them in the Citrus Bowl, 9 receptions, 163 yards, 1 touchdown. He's the next great LSU receiver. He's a separator. He's a stacker. He knows how to run his routes. He knows how to put himself in a position to have the DB trailing, put them out of position, which I think helps him in the yards after catch. Because now these guys are in bad positions. So now they're going to be in bad position when they're trying to tackle him. He's an inside-outside guy. I say he's CeeDee Lambish because I like him with the football in his hands, crossing routes, vertical routes. He's good going up and getting it. But what are your thoughts on Malik Neighbors?
Don't press him. Don't press this guy. Because he can beat you with the looseness and he can beat you with physicality, right? Like, and to boot, he runs crisp routes, sharp, in and out, one plant and go. He did this last year when all eyes are on Butte. And in reality, Butte was probably the better talented guy when fully healthy, when locked in. Neighbors just surpassed him by week 3. This is my team, buddy. Your time is done. Get to stepping. And he never looked back. Put him in the open field. He is a playmaker. He's extremely dangerous. In the open field, he gives me that D-Jack type of thing. Like, he can get around you. He's not as quick like that, but he got straight line speed. But he can make those quick moves, leave you on his skates. You know what I'm saying? He's got a good route running. He is another guy that's twitch, but it's like he can do a fake twitch. Like, he can sell you on something he had no plan on even going. A hand check, a hand movement to the inside, right? Or maybe like they always tell you, don't drag the toe. You don't need to drag the toe. It's just an action. But he can stay in step, in movement, drag the toe, make it seem like he's going to cut in, cut back out. I think I think we're going to see something special this year. I think with Daniels, just got his chicken deal from Raging Cajuns, right? Daniel's
Okay.
got an NIL deal from them. He's more locked in. He took a step last year. We knew him as more of like a running QB. He seemed to be able to sit in the pocket last year and start delivering balls. I think they both took a step. I think we're going to see some. This is now you got Brian Kelly in another year at LSU. Nobody expected them to even win 7. Never mind be in the top 10 at the end of the season. So it's his team, and he knows it. And they have other pieces they brought in. They brought a guy from Alabama. I think it transferred out as to be his wide receiver 2, who's coming off injury, double A. I think his last name's Anderson. But Neighbors is him. And Neighbors has a chance to be the best wide receiver not from Ohio State.
Love it. Love it. LSU wide receivers, man. You see, I got my LSU gear behind me, man. So I'm gonna be watching him this season. All right, let's talk about another defensive lineman. All right, Mekhi Wingo, 6'1", 295 pounds. He was another guy, freshman all SEC at Missouri. Transferred to LSU after his freshman season. In 2022, he played in 14 games, 25 solo tackles, 21 assists, 46 total, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 4 passes defended. So this dude, he's 6'1". Like, he's not a giant. He's a big human being. But for him to have 4 passes defended at 6'1", this guy gets around. He's got good awareness. 2 fumble recoveries, 1 forced fumble. He had an 85.1 PFF grade against the run, which is 3rd best against draft-eligible defensive linemen. He had an 80.7 PFF grade, tackle grade, which was 5th best. 79.8 PFF defensive grade total, which was 13th best. He was 3rd team All-American. Okay, and it was 2nd team All-SEC. So this guy, very good football player. What are your thoughts on Wingo?
Wingo's like Butterbean when it comes to the line. He's going to hit you with them big, heavy hands, going to keep it bopping around, right? That's what I couldn't wear out the E Honda line anymore, so I got to go somewhere else. I'm going Butterbean. Right. He got big mitts, right?
And Butterbean was a folk legend, you know?
He had a run. He had a run for like 2-3 years where
that was before social media. That was before like things go. Butterbean would have went viral. Like, put him on the list of human beings that lived in the wrong time period. If Butterbean was living right now, he'd
with
be
the
viral.
Apollo Creed trunks on, but you got my point with the heavy hands. He just threw haymakers. Right. He has no problem out there, duking it out with guys. Now, got high motor, okay, and when it comes to playing the 3 technique, that's when he's going to get most of his success. Okay, that's where he gets his penetration. That's where he gets in there and eats. But he like a sumo wrestler. This dude don't go to the ground. Good luck. What's funny is I say that because he wrestled in high school. So that's where he's got his balance from. That's where he's got his, like, you can bend him but don't break type maneuver.
Give me a defensive lineman who wrestled in high school, and they'll probably be, especially if they were good at it.
I was just about to say, you get him chest to chest and see who's going to win, right? Like, who's going to win that battle? The guy who's got the wrestling background. And with that wrestling background comes a strong core, right? You got a big upper body, and you know how to use your leverage the best way. Wingo is a guy that can climb, especially if that defense takes a step and puts LSU. I got LSU, Texas, and Natty.
Right.
If they're in a Natty, Mason Smith and Wingo are going to be dudes.
Man, I mean, he had 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. Probably demanded some double teams, but now you have Mason Smith out there.
You're getting one-on-ones, baby.
Pick your poison.
Yep.
He carried the burden last year. He's not going to have to carry it by himself this year. They're going to split it between the 2 of them. And I think they both went on like a trip. I think 10 LSU players went on a retreat to Senegal, like a LSU school type thing. So they bonded. All right. So now they're ready to come back to the NFL, or not to the NFL, to college football and dominate. All right. Let's talk about a safety, Major Burns. Major Apple. Where was Major Applewhite from?
Texas.
All right. So I feel like, but there's been, and then Major, I feel like there's been multiple players with the name of Major. And
Major Applewhite was a Texas QB, and now he's an OC. I want to say at Texas Tech.
Okay. But I feel like there was another Major. I don't know. Whatever.
No. Major Applewhite is the OC for South Alabama. Shout out Seymour.
Okay. Shout out. All right. Well, Major Burns, 6'3", 178 pounds, transferred from Georgia after 2020 season, which was interesting to me because he's from Baton Rouge. So he's from Baton Rouge, went to Georgia, came back to LSU, but he played with Georgia in 2020 as a true freshman. Pretty damn impressive. 2022, he played 9 games, 22 solo tackles, 16 assists, 38 total, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 passes defended. He plays the game with a physical presence, a vocal presence. I did some research on him. by one LSU beat reporter basically said that he is a top tier trash talker. This guy is going to let you hear it. So let me hear it on Major Burns.
So he played wide receiver in high school as well as DB, right? And it's noticeable. He's a physical guy, like you said. I like his got that Joey Porter dog in him. I'll get in your head, right? He's physical at the point of attack. Give me a Georgia DB. If you got recruited to Georgia and you want to transfer out, I'll take it, because they ain't recruiting chumps, right? They got them gritty, them dogs, them guys who go out there and get in your face. Don't get beat. I'm coming back to get you. You ain't gonna beat me on the same play twice. Like that's what I get from Burns, right? You got a lean, long frame, right? A strong core. He's just an athletic build, like you said. He's aggressive, growly. I like him for the same fact that I like Kool-Aid. They got swag, and they know how to. They don't just have the swag. It's like Deion, right? Deion had the swag, and he performed.
Right.
Burns and Kool-Aid got the swag, and they performed. So
right.
This kid steps up to play, and now he's not going to be left out there on an island, because if Deuce Chestnut's healthy on the other side, you got two top tier DBs out there. So Chestnut's healthy, Burns is taking off, bro. You could see more turnovers where now he could play a little more free.
Right. I like it. Yeah. Any safety who could play, who could bring it, who could talk. That's the type of guy I like to see on the field.
4.5 speed. I'll take that.
This next guy, Omar Spites, the last player we have from LSU, 6'1", 237 pounds, 4-star recruit. He was 4A All-State as a junior in high school, played running back and defensive end. I think he's from Pennsylvania, then transferred out to Oregon, where he ended up starting at Oregon State. All right. Appeared in 45 games during his 4 years at Oregon State. Started 39 times, racked up 308 tackles, 25 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. So this guy is Senior Bowl eligible. I would not be surprised if we see Spites out there. He led the Pac-12 in assisted tackles in 2020. All right. He's 2019 freshman All-American, 2022 first team All-Pac-12 via coach's poll. He was second team All-Pac-12 via the AP. What I noticed from him, I wasn't enamored with any one of his skills, but he was very good at everything. Like he is, I wrote master at his job. Like he does his job. And you know what? One of his skills I was very impressed with was his feet. He was very good at staying clear of clutter.
Okay.
Flowing to the football and not just it didn't seem like, it just seemed like he found lanes. He found lanes, whether it was he was blitzing, whether he was filling the gap to stop the runner, whether it was a running back was coming out of the backfield, whether he was dropping in zone coverage. So we've studied some top tier linebackers in this class. I don't know if his ceiling is as high as theirs, but I think this guy can play 4 downs at the next level, or 3 downs. I'm sorry.
So he's got 4 pass breakups in his career, and he's got 3 picks. So he can play in coverage, okay? Like he can drop back and play coverage. But my man's Meep. Call him a roadrunner. His motor don't stop. You said his feet are always going. He can go. It doesn't matter if it's a coverage, if he's getting downhill. If he's going downhill, he's going full balls to the wall, not stopping, like all gas, no brakes for my guy. I think this is a good move for him going to LSU. I think he could have a Deion Jones type year. Like you got them dogs up front. They're going to be opening up gaps for you left and right. And this is a dude who plays on the outside, but make no mistake, he can make one move and get on the inside and be in your quarterback's throat in a matter of a second. So he's very violent. He plays strong. He's good agility. And even when beat by running backs, he knows, which is what I liked a lot, especially I seen in Oregon State. I've seen it in the game against my Ducks. He's very good with angles. If he gets beat off the line of scrimmage, he can recover and take a better angle and sift it out. Like he's a bloodhound. He doesn't stop looking for the leather, even if he's out of the play. You know what I mean? Like he's constantly going. And sometimes that can be, a bad thing. Sometimes it can be a good thing. I think in his case, it's a good thing.
Yeah. He's very sound. They will not. LSU does a good job of recruiting linebackers. Like I know Jabril Cox a few years ago, they got him out of North Dakota State. He transferred over. I know Oregon State is a much bigger program than North Dakota State, but getting a guy 1 year before they're getting ready to go to the NFL draft, have them come in and help your roster when you feel you have a championship roster. Good move, because this guy behind those studs up front, he already does a good job of staying clear of clutter. Now, these guys are going to be keeping linemen from going to the second level and attacking him. He's going to have free lanes, and he's going to eat up a lot of tackles this season. I think he's got a very good year coming. All right, let's move on to Alabama. I'm going to start with Malachi Moore. So
I'm not talking. I'm not talking. You talk all about this guy. Yeah. I don't want to hear it. I'm not saying nothing.
I was super enamored with Micah Parsons, a few years ago when he left, before Michael Parsons, Jalen Ramsey was one of my favorite players at college football. Before him, it was Tyrann Mathieu. So I've had favorites, and I have the receipts of, me talking about guys young in their college career. Malachi Moore is a freshman. After Parsons was gone, I was talking to Shane, because Shane's usually the guy I bounce things off of, because he's got the big boards and he's projecting. And I'm like, Shane, this is the guy I want Cowboys to get next. I know he's only a freshman. So he was Brian Branch for Saban before Brian Branch. Unfortunately for him, he got hurt. Brian Branch took the job, and Moore hasn't looked as good as he was his freshman season. Malachi Moore's freshman season was phenomenal. He started in 11 games, led the team with 4 forced turnovers, 3 interceptions. He was all SEC for the freshman team. Second team all SEC honors for the defensive back as a freshman. Stud. All over the place. He could play inside. He could play outside. He could drop in safety. It reminded me, I mentioned this to you earlier, Jalen Ramsey, his freshman year at Florida State, he was everywhere. Yeah. He was a little guy. Like he hit a growth spurt, I want to say, by his second or third year at Florida State. He was a little guy, but his coverage, his breaks on the football, diving and batting passes, his reflexes. Malachi Moore was that. He hasn't been that since that injury. Brian Branch now is gone. He's going to get an opportunity now to step back in and play that star role for Nick Saban in that offense. This season is huge for him, because nobody's going to draft him. No one's going to invest high draft capital on what he did in 2020. If he could do it again, if he could play like that, he's going to be a top 50 pick.
I'm with you, but there's a lot of red flags, right? Last year he played 12 games. 2021 he played 11 games, and then his freshman year he played 11 games. This is the number right here. His freshman year, when targeted, he allowed a QB rating of 68.3. Nails. Over 100 the past 2 seasons each year. That 40 points is gross for a jump. And this is with Battle Branch there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had dudes where you weren't even covering the top dogs.
Right.
And you were getting burnt.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to him very soon. But my guy's on the outside. So wherever he is, that side of the field's empty. You ain't even got to worry about that side of the field.
Right.
And he still has struggled. So the talent's there. I wonder if it's more of a mental thing now. Like, is he in his own head?
Right.
You know what I mean?
This is it. It's it. Like, this year is make or break for him. We've seen the potential. Can he do it? He came back for a reason. Right. He was draft eligible last year. And obviously Branch, I think, was a first-round talent who went in the second round. So shout out to the Lions for getting him. So the guy in front of him, star. So
he fell because of a bad 40 time. Everybody thought he was going to be like a low 4.4, 4.340.
Was he 4.5?
He ran a 4.52, which dropped him to the second round. It was early second round, right? He was picked 36, I think. So what was that, like the 4th pick in that round? So yeah, the money changes. I get it. You know, and the guaranteed extra year, you can get locked up for the 5th year. That changes too. But I mean, they got he ain't going anywhere. No. He's him and homeboy at the linebacker
Campbell.
Yeah, they're gonna be
Hutchinson. They're loaded. All right, why don't you talk about your guy, Kool-Aid McKinstry? I'm gonna let you talk. I'm gonna listen.
All right, listen. Kool-Aid is just cooler than the other side of the pillow. 6'1", 195. Oh, yeah. 2022 first team All-American DB. Pro Football Focus, right? 2022 second team All-American punt returner. You don't need to play special teams. My guy does it, and he does it well, right? All SEC first team at DB, AP poll, and league coaches. That's the one that gets me. Screw the AP poll. That's garbage in my eyes. The coaches, those are the ones that are watching you. 2022 All SEC first team as a return specialist by the coaches. Again, 2022 second among Division I punt returners, 332 yards. He averaged almost 16 yards per return, right? That was second in the nation and tops in the SEC. I knew my man broke up 15 pass attempts, right? And he was named a semifinalist for the Bernardic Award, and he was the nation's top defensive back.
Sounds like Charles Woodson.
Listen, Charles Woodson meets Sauce Gardner, okay? Because the swag, the only thing that Kool-Aid don't play offense. Charles Woodson was unique because he was a unicorn. Right. He could dog you on the defensive side, pick you at the corner, and then go catch a pass in the end zone and make you look stupid or take a wide receiver reverse to the crib. So, but Kool-Aid, oh my God, Kool-Aid, lean, athletic, right? I'm going to say it now, lockdown DB. Put him on an island. You'll be talking about Kool-Aid's Island. What flavor of the day do you want? You want the red, the purple, the blue? It ain't Revis Island no more. We're going to Kool-Aid's Island, all right? It don't matter if it's man coverage, if it's zone. You want to play physical? I got you. You want to play speed? I got you. You want to play technical? I got you. With T-stepping, with clicking and closing, my guy got it all. I know everybody wants to say that Denzel Burks is DB1 out in Ohio State. Maybe in your eyes, maybe because he gets to go against the best 2 wide receivers in college football. But when those 2 wide receivers go against Kool-Aid, I think they're more worried about Kool-Aid than they are Denzel Burke. And you could put that one in the book.
Man, I like that. And it's going to be exciting to watch him go against Neighbors.
Yes.
Being in the SEC, playing against, that I'm going to have that matchup circled. Can't wait to watch. Let's talk about these edge defenders because you kind of alluded to this earlier. Talking about, Will Anderson. Earlier we were on another show. So peek behind the curtain. We were talking, gambling for the NFL season, and we were talking defensive rookie of the year. You had mentioned Will Anderson,
right?
And it just goes to show you how talented Alabama is at the edge position. That they have guys coming in who've been on the team for 3 or 4 years, barely seen reps, that were the top recruits in the nation.
5 stars everywhere.
Yes, but they're seniors.
Yeah,
they're 5 stars who barely played. So that just goes to show you.
They don't transfer because they know.
I was low on Alabama just because I listened to you guys, P2P, and I know Bama's not Bama, but just seeing some of the depth and some of the strength they have, they're
defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
There's another side of the ball that scores the points,
But let's start with Dallas Turner. 6'4", 242 pounds. He was a 5-star recruit. He was the number 2 player in the state of Florida. All right, that's state of Florida is putting out dudes. All right, he was a 2021 freshman All-American, freshman All-SEC. Played 13 games with 10 starts in 2022. Had 37 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. Pressured the opposing quarterback 9 times while adding a fumble recovery for a touchdown. He's on the Chuck Bednarik Award watch list, which is the most, talented defense player. And he's what I saw from him. So compared to who we're going to mention, Chris Braswell, I think that's how you pronounce it. This guy, his closing speed when he gets around the edge, if you're a ball carrier running to him or trying to run around him, or if you're a quarterback trying to get out of the pocket, as soon as he gets around the edge and he's able to take a full step, he closes quickly. It's very damn impressive. So what's your thoughts on Dallas Turner?
How many, Micah? Max Crosby's kind of developed it over the years. How many edge guys? I know he's a linebacker, but he's the outside linebacker. He's the guy coming off the end.
Right.
How many edge guys have a Euro step? It's not many, right?
No.
Micah's got it because he can
hop. The Bosa's aren't doing it,
No, Bosa's aren't doing it. Max has got a little bit of one. It's kind of called the shimmy. He kind of stutters and then but this guy is, I don't know if I've seen a team. Will Anderson was the guy. And we knew he was the guy last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Shane is the one that really opened my eyes on him because I was like, all right, well, Bull's a guy. He thinks Dallas Turner is just as good. If
really?
Not, yeah. He is in on Dallas Turner. He's violent, like you said, right? This kid, gets around the corner, closes well. He can drop back in coverage if needed. Doesn't really like to, but if you need him to, he can. He can shoot the gap, right? He closes fast on the ball. My line, he's always looking for leather, whether it's in your hands or it's in RB's hands. He's looking for it. He's a contortionist of his body. Like, I've seen him get into double teams, and not many guys can split the double team on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Like, in between there, he'll split it on the inside part. Instead of, like, you come in and go out. He comes in and goes in, and man, Turner's got
that's just speed.
Yeah, it just the feet keep going. His lower body is big, and that's what you like to see. You got them big, quads, hamstrings. You ain't getting tired. You can bang with the big boys, and he got a motor. And he's got that natural program presence. Like, I look at edges and linebackers, I instantly think of Vladimir, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these guys that are just fired up, go after it. He's got that.
Right. And I mean, and just speaking of program in general, not just the movie, the program, he looks like an Alabama stud defensive lineman.
Yeah.
He just like by Will Anderson. Like, if I didn't know who this cat was, and I knew who Will Anderson was, and then I knew we had to replace Will Anderson, and you just put this guy in front of me, he's a dude. Like, he looks,
What was it? Is he 6 foot?
6'4", 240.
6'4", 240, and he runs a 4.45 40. Like,
stud. Now, the other defensive end is a little more thick, 6'3", 255 pounds. His name is Chris Broswell. 2022, he had 20 tackles, including 4 for loss, 2.5 sacks. So he didn't see as much playing time. Nearly. He only had 285 snaps. All right. But he had an 81 pass rush grade, which was 29th in the nation. So usually, when I'm looking at PFF, I look at, a cap for how many pass rush snaps. So I extended that cap for him a little bit to try to get him in there. He was 29th in the nation out of the 285 snaps. So this will be his 4th year at Alabama. He's finally getting a shot to get full-time reps. So what are your thoughts on Broswell?
He's the opposite of Turner. He can't cover it. Well, that'll save his life. You couldn't cover something in a wet paper bag. He just can't do it. He got a grade of 43.9. Kind of like his thing is pressure. When you got a grade of 81 PFF grade in pressure and a 73 grade of tackling, this is what you do. You get downhill. You just wreak havoc in the backfield, and you're just there to rip somebody's limbs off so they don't come at you again the next time. And this is what Braswell's got. Again, another guy on the freaks list, right? You get a vertical of 38.5, dude. Like, and he squats over 705 pounds, power cleans over 405 pounds. It's just pure strength right here.
Right.
Now that's on one side. So now you got Turner on one side, and you got the mountain, you want to call him, on the other side.
Right.
Like, they just don't lose, right? You got good footwork for a big guy. Like I said, pass coverage, he closes decently, but he also uses his
you're
arms.
talking about these DBs and these linebackers, and they don't need him dropping into coverage.
No, they don't. His ability as a blitzer is what they want. They want to be, get the length and the flexibility around the edge. Got a good swim. I'm with it. I like Braswell. He wasn't on my radar when I did my breakdown for this, and I was looking at guys, and I says, I'm going to put the guys on the list for you. I was like, ooh, a good year on the opposite side of Turner. You're going to see one-on-ones probably because Turner's going to be getting double left and right. And this guy could sneak into the mid, day 2, end of day 2, and be a guy. So
let's see what his pass rush grade is next year after seeing likely, 450 plus snaps.
Oh, yeah. He only had like 250 or something like
285.
That? Yeah, so.
All right, let's move on to the offensive side of the football. This is an offensive tackle who's going to be blocking these guys in practice. J.C. Latham, 6'5", 335 pounds, the nation's top-ranked offensive lineman by all major outlets and the highest-ranked commit in the SEC. 2022, started all 13 games. He allowed 2 sacks, 11 pressures, 2 quarterback hits, and committed 10 penalties. Those 10 penalties were 6th in the nation. It's a lot of penalties. All right, but take the good with the bad. 84.5 pass block grade, which was 8th in the nation amongst returning players. 73.8 run block grade, which is 20th in the nation amongst returning players. So this guy, very talented, clean up the penalties, big boy, can play, has a lot of experience going up against top-tier talent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, he hits every mark that my guy D now likes. 6'6", 320 plus, big offensive tackle, right? Plays violent. I feel like he's like the type of guy. He got them Gorilla Glue mitts, right? When he gets them on, he knows where to place them. I think like he sees like where to put the hand placement on. It's like already out there for him. It's like a black light. Oh, boom, got him right. As soon as he grabs
he's got the Gorilla Glue though. He's got to get rid of the glue, keep the mitts.
Yeah, exactly. And he wants to hold on a little bit too much. So, but once he got you in there, he's fine. But I feel like he's that guy that grabs you in and he's just talking smack to you while he's holding you around like a rag doll. You coming to me? Not today. It's a grown man against a boy. But you know what I mean? Like just the way he plays and his size and style.
That's you. That's you playing Mario Kart against your boys in a few years.
Yeah, you're gonna learn today. All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, at his size, he sticks out as well. You can't hide a guy at 6'6", right? It doesn't happen. But for a guy that size, he's pretty agile on his feet, right? Gets around good. He likes to fight in the smallest little areas. He wants it when they're run blocking and you got shoulder to shoulder. We're in there banging around. That's where he excels the most. Yeah, I feel like rock him, sock him, right? And then once he gets the best of you, good to go.
Right. Move on. All right. Last player we're going to talk about this evening, Terrion Arnold, DB, 6 foot, 196 pounds. He had a redshirt season in 2022. So 2021 was his redshirt season, didn't play. 2022 was considered his freshman year. He was selected freshman All-American by the FWAA, named to the freshman All-SEC team by the league coaches. 2022, he had 7 starts in 11 games, 45 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 8 pass breakups, which is pretty impressive, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery. So he's going to get tested this year. He's going to be starting. He's going to get a lot of exposure, a lot of experience. How do you think he's going to hold up against the rest of the competition in the SEC?
Antoine Winfield vibes is what I get. If he can mature. He makes
because he came out of high school as a safety. He was one of the top recruits. Yeah.
So I get that Winfield, like Thornhill vibe from him. He can play that, get downhill, tackle, can also play out in open field, make plays. But he's really immature when it comes to like, not as a person, it's game. Like, when if he gets beat bad off a route, you can see the demeanor coming up to the line the next time. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to brush it off, especially when you're going to be getting targeted because Kool-Aid's on the other side, and they're not really going to throw his way. I think he's got all the intangibles. It is instinctive. He's good at reading routes, right? He plays good in man and zone. He anticipates throws. He can look. He's good at reading QB's eyes and looking in the backfield while backpedaling. He can get off the ball quickly. My guy is not a T-step. He's a T-step. He's not a bicycle, but there's always good guys that are T-steppers. I'm more of a bicycle guy. Right. He's got a tall frame and long arms, so he can get up in there and break up passes. It's the maturity, and I need you to step up and be that guy. You need to play at a level, maybe not Kool-Aid, but like you need to play at a level of you're Alabama, you're an SEC school. Nick Saban is your coach. You could be one of the top DBs in the country. Now show the world what you got.
Well, he was technically a freshman last year, technically.
But this will be his 3rd season of collegiate level, so he's able to go to the draft.
So the maturity, let's see it.
Right.
We'll give you a pass, but now this year you got to see it.
He's on the same level as Quinn Ewers to me. Last year was your freshman season. You made freshman mistakes, right?
Right.
You probably weren't put in the best position at certain times, right? Alabama was kind of towards the end of the season trying to piece the puzzles back together. Quinn, after the injury, Texas was piecing the puzzle back together. I think they kind of have a similar path this year. If they can right the wrongs, the talent's there.
Awesome. All right, so this was episode number 30 of On the Clock NFL Draft Show, part of the Titles Podcast Network. This was part 2 of SEC breakdowns. Do you know what teams are we breaking down next week? I know we got Auburn behind us. We got Bama behind us. We got Arkansas behind us. I think we got Texas A&M behind us. LSU. So I'm guessing we're going to Georgia. Probably going to Florida.
Tennessee. Okay. Georgia. There might be a guy from Florida. There might be a guy from Kentucky. And there might be a guy from South Carolina. Unfortunately, Mizzou and Vanderbilt, there's no day one guys. Day 1, day 2 guys.
What about Ritter? I'm not Ritter. Rattler. Sorry, Ritter.
Rattler's in South Carolina.
But I'm saying, like, are we
Yeah, he's a cusp. He's a cusp. Juice Wells is on the cusp as well. Wide receiver Antoine Juice Wells. Devin Leary out of Kentucky's on the cusp. I need to see something.
Obviously, probably the biggest prospect of all of these is going to be Bowers. Bowers is a top 10 selection. We thinking?
Yeah, I mean that's granted. He's going to probably be top 10, top 12. For me, you should know by now. It was the question mark for me. I'm going to have a lot to say when it comes to if we're going to go to Neyland Stadium and Rocky Top and talk about Mr. Throw at 100 yards, Joey Milton.
Right.
I'm going to have some things to say.
Well, so we'll get into it. You want to get into it with us when we're off air, get into the Gilded Chat. You can reach out to me on the Twitter at Coach Sheps or Nino at Nino Brown _T2T or the show at Toilets Titles. Yeah, we just passed 200 and then we flew past 200. We have 220 members in there. And we have the Title Tribe chat where we're just talking general football. We got a fantasy chat in there and it's all free. And the community is phenomenal. And I got to turn my phone upside down when I'm recording so I don't get alerts because it is just nonstop over and over again. And we would love to see you win it because if you're a football nut, that's the place for you. The Toilets Titles Gilded Chat. So Nino, it has been an absolute pleasure recording with you twice this evening. All right, everybody else, it's been a pleasure talking to you this evening. I hope you enjoy the show. Check out the playlist. Check out the past episodes if you haven't seen them. And we will catch you all